Every day after dinner, I was hit with cramps, and my stepmom would sweetly offer me medicine. I was 15 when my stepmom moved into our house in suburban Ohio. She came in like a whirlwind of warmth, cooking hearty dinners, keeping the place spotless, and acting like she genuinely cared about me and my dad. The kitchen always smelled like fresh bread or her famous lasagna, and for a while it felt like we were finally a family again after Mom passed. She'd tuck my shirts into the laundry with a smile, ask about my day, and even leave little notes on my backpack with smiley faces. I thought she was perfect. But a few months in, things started to go wrong with me, really wrong. It started small. After dinner, my stomach would churn like I'd swallowed a rock. I'd be doubled over in the bathroom, sweating through waves of cramps and diarrhea. At first, I thought it was something I ate, maybe too much pizza or those spicy wings from the diner down the street. But it kept happening every single night. I'd eat, and within an hour, I'd be sprinting to the bathroom, my insides twisting. My stepmom was always there, hovering with a glass of water and a concerned frown, saying it was probably teenage hormones or stress from school. She'd hand me these chalky pills she called vitamins or stomach settlers, swearing they'd help. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was the adult, the one who seemed to have it all together. Dad took me to doctors, 3 different ones, actually. We went to a clinic in Columbus, then a specialist in Cincinnati. Blood tests, stool samples, even an endoscopy that made me gag just thinking about it. Nothing. They'd shrug and say it could be IBS or something stress-related. One doctor even suggested I was overreacting to normal digestion. I felt like I was losing my mind. My stepmom would nod along at these appointments, her hand on my shoulder, telling the doctors how she was doing her best to help me through my delicate health. Dad would squeeze her hand, grateful for her patience. Meanwhile, I was dropping weight like crazy, my jeans hung off my hips, and my old soccer jerseys looked like dresses on me. I used to be on the varsity team, but I had to quit because I couldn't make it through practice without bolting to the restroom. School got rough. I missed so many classes that my grades tanked. My friends started drifting away, whispering that I must have some weird contagious disease. One girl I had a crush on stopped sitting with me at lunch after I had to leave mid-conversation to deal with another stomach episode. I overheard her telling someone I was gross. My stepmom would tell our neighbors, nice folks who'd known me since I was a kid, that I had chronic health issues and that she was practically a nurse taking care of me. People started looking at me with pity, like I was some frail kid who couldn't handle life. It was humiliating. The worst part? I started believing it. Maybe I was just weak. Maybe my body was broken. My stepmom's special diet for me didn't help. Soups, bland chicken, rice she'd cook just for me. She'd played it up with this big, caring smile, saying it was gentle on my stomach. But the pain kept coming, worse every week. I was exhausted, barely sleeping because I was up half the night in the bathroom. My dad started looking at me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve, and I could tell he was frustrated. He'd mutter about how much the doctor visits cost, and my stepmom would pat his arm, saying, "We'll get through this, honey." Then, one night, everything changed. I'd eaten dinner, some kind of creamy soup she'd made, and felt the cramps hit way faster than usual, like my stomach was staging a full-on revolt. I stumbled to the kitchen for water, my head spinning. That's when I saw her. My stepmom was standing by the counter, stirring something into my leftovers, the bowl she always set aside for me. It wasn't sugar or salt, it was a fine, white powder from a little vial. My heart stopped. I asked her what she was doing, my voice shaking. She froze, then turned with this wide-eyed look like a deer caught in headlights. Before I could say anything else, she started crying, loud and dramatic, saying I was seeing things because of my condition. She ran to my dad, sobbing about how worried she was that I was having hallucinations. He bought it, of course. He hugged her, told me to go lie down, and said we'd talk in the morning. I didn't sleep that night. My brain was racing. Was I crazy? Was I really imagining it? But I couldn't shake the image of that powder. The Stuart Little had been my favorite movie as a kid, and I remembered how he'd always say, "You gotta be sharp to catch the bad guys." I decided to be sharp. Update 1. I started paying attention. The next day, I pretended to eat the casserole she made but hid it in a napkin when she wasn't looking. No cramps that night. My stomach felt fine for the first time in months. I tested it again the next day, skipped her special smoothie, and ate some chips from my secret stash in my room. Nothing. No pain, no bathroom runs. My heart was pounding because it was starting to click. It wasn't me. It was her. I didn't say anything to Dad yet. I needed proof. I started sneaking into the kitchen after she cooked, watching her like a hawk. One night, I caught her again, sprinkling that same powder into my soup. This time, I grabbed the vial before she could hide it. It was laxatives over-the-counter stuff, but a lot of it. I felt sick, but not from my stomach. From betrayal. I didn't confront her. Instead, I hid the vial in my sock drawer and started planning. I couldn't go to my dad yet. He was so wrapped around her finger, always talking about how lucky we were to have her. I needed something undeniable. So, I set up my old phone in the kitchen tucked behind a cereal box, recording video. The next night, I got her on tape, clear as day, dumping laxatives into my food. My hands were shaking as I watched the footage. It was real. She'd been making me sick for months, maybe longer. I felt this mix of rage and relief, like I wasn't broken, but the person who was supposed to care about me was the one breaking me. I showed the video to my dad. He didn't want to believe it at first. He kept saying there had to be a mistake, that she'd never do that. But the footage was undeniable. He sat there, silent, for a long time, just staring at the floor. We confronted her together. She cried again, said she was just trying to help me with my digestion issues, but it was a weak excuse and we all knew it. Dad told her to pack her things and leave. She begged, said she loved us, but he wasn't having it. She was gone by the next morning, her car stuffed with boxes, no more smiley notes or fake concern. I felt this weird emptiness, not just because she was gone, but because I realized I'd never really known her. Dad and I didn't talk much for a few days. It was like we were both grieving something we couldn't name. Update 2. Things didn't just go back to normal. I thought getting her out of the house would fix everything, but it was like the air was still heavy with her lies. I was healthy again, no more cramps, no more vitamins. I started eating normal food, like burgers and fries, and it felt like a miracle to keep it down. But I was angry. Angry at her for what she did, angry at myself for not seeing it sooner, angry at Dad for being so blind. He tried to make it up to me, took me fishing, bought me new cleats for soccer tryouts, but it wasn't enough. I kept wondering why. Why would she do this? Was it control? Was it some twisted way to make me need her? I found her old journal in a box she left behind, tucked under some scarves. I shouldn't have read it, but I did. It was full of entries about how she felt like an outsider, how she was terrified I'd never accept her, how she wanted to be the hero who fixed me. It wasn't an apology, it was worse. It was like she convinced herself she was helping me, like making me sick was her way of proving she belonged. It made my skin crawl. School was still a mess. People didn't just forget the sick kid label. I had to eat lunch alone for weeks, rebuilding trust with friends one awkward conversation at a time. I joined the soccer team again, but I was out of shape and the coach rode me hard. I didn't care, I loved being back on the field, feeling my body work the way it was supposed to. But at home, things were quiet. Too quiet. Dad started drinking more, not a lot, but enough that I'd find empty beer cans in the recycling bin. I think he felt guilty, like he'd failed me by not seeing what she was doing. I wanted to tell him it wasn't his fault, but the words wouldn't come out. We were both stuck in this weird limbo, trying to figure out how to be a family again. Then came the first plot twist. I got a letter in the mail, handwritten, no return address. It was from her. She didn't apologize, not really. She wrote about how she never meant to hurt me and how she just wanted to be needed. She said she was living with her sister in another state now, starting over. But the last line hit me like a punch. She said she'd done it because she thought if I was sick, I'd stay close to her and we'd be a real family. I tore the letter up and didn't tell Dad. It felt like she was still trying to crawl into my head and I wasn't letting her. Update 3, months passed and I thought we were moving on. I was gaining weight, getting stronger, even scored a goal in a scrimmage. Kids at school started talking to me again and I felt like I was clawing my way back to normal. Dad and I started cooking together badly, but it was kind of fun burning pancakes and laughing about it. We were healing slowly. But then another twist hit. I was cleaning out the garage, looking for my old skateboard, when I found a box of Mom's stuff, old photos, her favorite scarf, a necklace I hadn't seen since I was a kid. Tucked inside was a letter from my stepmom, dated a year before she moved in. It was addressed to my dad, but he'd never opened it. In it, she wrote about meeting him, how she loved him but felt like she'd never measure up to Mom. She mentioned me, how she was scared I'd hate her forever, how she'd do whatever it took to be part of our family. It wasn't proof of anything, but it felt like a confession, like she'd been planning something long before she started with the laxatives. I sat there in the dusty garage, feeling like the ground was shifting under me again. She'd been scheming from the start, not just to hurt me but to carve out a place for herself in our lives. I didn't show Dad the letter. He was finally smiling again, and I didn't want to drag him back into that mess. Instead, I burned it in the backyard, watching the flames eat her words. It felt good, like I was taking something back. But the questions lingered. How long had she been planning it? Was it just the laxatives, or was there more I'd never know? I started locking my bedroom door at night even though she was gone. Trust was hard to rebuild. Final update. A year later, I'm 17 now and things are better but not perfect. I'm back on the soccer team, starting most games, and I've got a couple of friends who stuck by me. We don't talk about her anymore. Dad's dating someone new, someone quieter, who doesn't try to be my mom. She's nice enough, brings takeout instead of cooking, and that's fine by me. I'm eating whatever I want, tacos, ice cream, spicy wings, and my stomach's never been happier. But I still check my food sometimes, just to be sure. It's like a reflex now, a little scar she left behind. The biggest twist came a few months ago. I was at the mall, grabbing a pretzel when I saw her. Not my stepmom, her sister. She didn't recognize me at first, but I knew her from a family barbecue years ago. She was at the food court looking tired, older. I don't know why, but I followed her to her car, keeping my distance. There was a kid in the back seat, maybe 10 years old, pale and thin, clutching a water bottle like it was a lifeline. My stomach dropped. I didn't confront her sister, didn't say a word. But I called child services later, anonymously, and gave them her address. I don't know if anything came of it, but I couldn't just walk away. Not after what I'd been through. I still think about that kid sometimes, hoping they're okay, hoping someone's looking out for them. Dad and I are closer now. We don't talk about the heavy stuff, but we don't need to. We've got our routines, Saturday morning hikes, pizza nights, even started binge-watching old sci-fi shows. It's not like it was before Mom died, and it's not like it was before my stepmom showed up. It's different, but it's ours. I'm okay with that. Some days I still feel her shadow, like she's out there waiting to creep back in. But I'm stronger now. I'm not that kid who trusted too easily. I'm watching, always watching.